Tamia Dow. She is international. She's an international motivational speaker, best-selling author, ordained minister, business coach, and John Maxwell-equipped leadership trainer. Tamia is from Las Vegas and patrolled the city as a Las Vegas Metropolitan Police officer and retired as a detective after 23 years of service. She's a veteran of the U.S. Army, where she was an officer, and is a certified leadership trainer through Dale Carnegie and John Maxwell Equip Training. Oh my goodness gracious. Tamia is a 3 times best-selling author and has 3 additional collaborations under her belt with individual books to be released by October 2017. If Tamia had her way, everyone would share their life experience and lessons learned with the world through a book. She believes very strongly in leaving a legacy through the written word. Today, Tamia will show you how you can write your book and use it to reach and serve your target market, helping them solve their problems and fulfill their desires. Tamia has worked with hundreds of people to help them remove the blocks that are holding them back and discover personal freedom. Please, everyone, get excited. Let's have a lot of fun as we welcome Miss Tamia Dow. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You are now live on the air, Tamia. Welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come out here today. We're going to have a lot of fun. Are you ready?
I am ready. I'm super excited. Yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. It's going to be great. So before we dive into the teaching about the book, I want to hear a little bit more about your story. I shared a little bit about it in the introduction, but I want to hear more from your own story and how it happened. Maybe some of the lessons you learned along the way, some of the challenges that you experienced, so the audience can get to know you a little bit better and then connect with you.
Well, excellent. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to be on the show, Chris. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
And I want to say hello to everyone out there who is listening on the lunchtime hour. It's noontime here on the West Coast. So I thank you for taking your lunchtime to listen in. I just love to teach, and I love to pour out. And that's been something that's been in my nature since we little. Like one of the stories that I tell in my book is I started off with service Girl Scouts, right? So I started as Girl Scouts, and when I went into high school, I was in student council, and then from student council, when I went to college, I was actually in leadership in college also, and then the next step I went from there was in leadership going into the military. Wow. So I joined the U.S. Army, so I have an Army background also, and I was a military police officer in the Army. I went from the Army to law enforcement. So I went right directly into law enforcement. The uniqueness about my background and why I love people so much is because I came up as a corporate brat, which means I wasn't a military brat. Every time my dad got a promotion, we got moved to a new city, and then now to a new city, and now to a new city. And this explains why, because like Chris, you and I met at a New Peaks event, right, at a personal development event. And I just reach out to everybody. I become friends. I read, because it happened from us being children that we had to go somewhere very quickly, make friends, very quickly fit in, very quickly get into the groove of things, right? So it's an excellent part of my character to be able to do that. I find everybody a friend. You know, even when I travel internationally, I'm smiling and I'm looking people in the face, and I'm looking for that person who's going to be my friend on that part of the journey, kind of thing. So that's a little bit of my background and how I flow. How I got into law enforcement is that I've always been a champion of people, right? A champion of, let's say, people who don't have the courage to speak out, or the boldness to speak out. And something that I definitely am is bold. I will speak out if I feel something is wrong. You know, I will find out who I need to speak to so it can be heard and known. You know, I'm not what you call a complainer. Right. I find out what the issue is, and then it's like, okay, so who can fix this, right?
Do something about it.
Right, who could do something to change this? You know, I'm not going to sit and be a chicken. You know, the chickens sit and you know, talk amongst themselves, right? Well, nothing's going to change with us talking amongst ourselves. You know, we need to find out who can make this change and to speak with that person, So I've always been a real advocate like that. And that's why law enforcement was natural for me, because I learned what to do. People pick up the phone, they call 911 or 311 or wherever you live, just the basic phone number. And they call because they need help. They have a problem, they need it solved. So that officer that shows up needs to have some answers. Or they don't. They need to know who to call to make those answers, clear to the person in need. So I've been very blessed because that set me up now, even for my business coaching and what I do now, is that I'm a problem solver. I continued in the same grain of you call 911, you pick up the phone, you call Coach Tamia, and I'm like, what we got going on? Let's work with it,
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Wow. So you're all about solving problems, being of service, especially to the community, because you have to be of service to the community to be a police officer. That's a top priority for you. And then you're also, I read, an ordained minister. How did the religion and God play into all this? I'm curious.
That's very interesting. In my most recent book, which is Faith is Inspiring Stories from Las Vegas Chaplains, I actually talk about that, talk about being in law enforcement. Having come from military to law enforcement, it's a very male-dominated environment. I basically cussed like a sailor. I'd beat you up just as quick as talk to you, that kind of thing. I was very in a semi kind of aggressive mode. I was super confident, and didn't really take that crap from a lot of people, right? Well, when I came into law enforcement, I came with a criminal justice degree. I came with military training. Wow. I came into my local police department and I said, I'm bringing a lot. I'm like the stuff, right? I'm bringing everything, right? Well, when I got to my department, that's when reality happens, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, you're not all that, right? And it was a hard blow for me. I mean, in my book, I talk about a little in depth, because in the book, I actually talk about how there were some racial issues and some things like that I did not expect to encounter. I came from the military. When you come from the military, all races are there. So I didn't expect to come and encounter any kind of pushback racially for me at a job I was working, So anyways, that basically, as they say, brought me to my knees. I had been raised as a Catholic, and I was like those Catholics at church on Christmas and Easter, right? Then during the whole rest of the year, I'm living my life, right? Yeah. Well, what ended up happening was when those incidents were happening to me at work, I started to really seek God, and try to find out, what is His desire? What is it that you have for me to do, God? Because I'm running around thinking I know what I'm supposed to do, and it's not working. So I'm just going to ask you, right? Going to let you direct my path so we can, kind of walk together, and then maybe more successes will happen along the way, right? And sure enough, it did. So basically, I recommitted myself, to the Lord. And after I did that, my whole, everything changed. I talk about that in my book. The words that came out of my mouth changed. I would normally cuss somebody out just as soon as talk to them, but my whole demeanor and everything, because I had more of that love and compassion. Not that I didn't have it before, but I was very much robotic. I mean, it was kind of like, okay, you call me to the call. I'm here at the call. I don't need to smile at you. I just need to solve your problem, and then I'm moving on to the next. I mean, just pick a RoboCop, right? Right. No emotions involved. You do care about the person, but okay, they're crying. Okay, they're there. Stop crying and tell me what you need to tell me. That kind of thing. So really, more compassion came into me. When I came to know the Lord, So as I went through my career and things were going on, people would come to me because they knew I was a Christian. They'd ask me to pray for them. They'd ask me for advice, those kind of things. I actually started going to Bible college. Wow. So I went to Bible college. I studied up. I got my ministerial degree. So I'm an ordained minister. And I also serve locally in my community as a chaplain. So not even just as a minister, because usually if you have a pastor or minister, they're usually assigned to one church. I am a chaplain, so I go out. We call it boots on the ground. So it's almost like being a cop minister. Wow. I can be dispatched or deployed to wherever I need to go. So my military and my police came right into play with that, and just add the faith, and so now I'm a chaplain, and I also do it internationally. So that's how I get a lot of my international speaking engagements on. I'll be in Cannes this year. Last year I was in Barcelona, and that's with international police from like all over the world, and I'm the chaplain for the organization.
Wow, that's incredible. You are a powerhouse, and it's clear that you've been through a lot of different experiences, and you use a lot of different areas of life that have influenced you to be able to connect with people on a lot of different levels and be able to reach them and have your message hit home with them. And in fact, that's what we're going to be talking about today with your writing the book and using the book as your business card. So before we get there, for everybody who's out there listening, if you feel a book is important for you, if it's either you have already written one, you're writing one, or you will write one in the future, I want you to type in book in the comment box. BOOK. Simple, because I feel like everybody should write a book. And like you said in your intro, that we should be leaving a legacy through the written word because of our experiences, because of the lessons that we've learned. So let's dive in, Tamia. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, I'm very excited. So cool. I have this is the little generic. It says, your book, right? Your book. So this is, I have it super generic, right? But the thing is, it's going to be your book. The person who is listening right now, the person who's on our training today, your book. I'm not writing the book for you. Okay, although we'll talk later about how people can help you write your book, and I will help you write your book, but I'm not writing your book because your book is your story. And it's about, so if you're an entrepreneur, you're a creative, you're a business owner, we all have books in us. And a lot of people will go, well, what do you mean I have a book in me? I don't know how to write, or I don't know how to this, or I don't know how to. It's not about what you don't know how to do. What we want to focus on what you do know how to do, and then help you get those people you need to help you go further to your next step. So like for a lot of us business owners and as entrepreneurs, we end up being what do we call solopreneurs, right? We got this. I've got a plan and I'm going to go forward and I've got this, right? But what you have to realize is that to be successful in life, you need a team. You just need a team. That's the way life goes, right? You have the idea person who comes up with the idea, the creative, right? The visionary. And that visionary could have tons of visions, which we tend to do. Visionaries tend to have all these great ideas, right? But how do you get them implemented? You need, because you yourself can't not implement all those things. You're going to need assistance and someone to step in to do those things that you're not strong at. So this is what I want you to write down as we go along. Realize you're not alone in this process. Okay, so writing a book is not a solo project. It is a solo project when you write it, for the most part, but we'll talk about some ways where it's not necessarily totally solo, but it's your intellectual property. It's your idea. And if you're sitting here going, well, I'm a business owner and I own, let's say I own a pizza shop, or I own a car dealership, or even a car maintenance place, or I'm just trying to give you some examples of different types of people who can write books, and they don't realize that they can write these books, and these books can be their business card. And when I say business card, I don't want you to think that I mean you're just going to be passing these out to everybody. Your business card is the book is a part of your business, right? It's a part of who you are to the people you serve, okay? So, and that's what you'll write about in your book, is who I am, Mr. John Doe, owner of the 123, my name is John Frankson, and I live in Napa. I'm just making up names here. But anyways, and you say, I grew up in Texas, and da-da-da-da, and I love pizza, and this is why I love pizza, and I traveled here, and da-da-da-da. Okay, people love to know about people. Right? People want to connect with a business that they know, like, and trust. Just like we say, people want speakers, and speakers. If you're a speaker, listen closely. Okay, people they know, like, and trust. Right? And for you, look at you. Yes, Chris, you are a phenomenal speaker, right? So you want to be able to give a person who is going to book you right? And this is a key thing, who's going to book you, or a person who's going to have an influence to tell someone about who you are and book you, your book in their hands. Now, let's be realistic. We're sitting in my den right now, and you cannot see all the books I have, but I have at least 1,000 books around me right now, right? Have I read all these books? No. Who has time, you know?
Right.
But like Adam Markel, who, he was the CEO of Peak, he used to say that most people only get 50 pages into your book, right? But the thing about being an author is this. You are an author. You are a published author, and you are an expert in the area you wrote that book on. Because people will say to you, best-selling author, here we have, Chris Burns, author of blah, 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 right? You will stand out amongst the other people who it says, oh, this guy's a speaker. Okay, he's got a website. Does he have a book? Oh, he doesn't have a book. So let me tell you, folks, how easy it is for you to get that book, right? Raise your hand if you're a speaker again. Okay, raise your hand if you're done training, any kind of training. Okay? And when I say any kind of training, I'm talking about, so you trained your employees on how to do the steps for your business, right? You told your employees exactly what your business was about, right? When they came on. All of us did that, right? You've written something, an article, anything, a blog about what you're passionate about, or what you're doing.
Even stuff on Facebook, on social media, writing up inspirational posts or like mini content, your story. And it's like, it could be a paragraph, but the fact is that you've already taken steps. You're already doing this.
Exactly. And I'm glad you actually brought that up, Chris, because you do a lot of inspirational posts, and you can actually compile those into a book. Because that's your intellectual property, your thoughts and all that you on there, and then you come up with a clever title, and then you own that book, and now that's the book you give out. And what I wanted to show you, folks, is I wanted to show you that people picture books and they think that books have to be these big, thick, long tomes, like your book can be, see how thin this is? See how thin this book is? Okay? It can be, and it doesn't have to, now this is a traditional size here, very traditional size book. It could be something like this. Okay? So this one, you can put, this can be done very quickly and easily. And this is your book. It would be on Amazon. It would list you as the author. People could buy it. Yet you could pick this up, this book created for you, and hand it out to people on the plane. You could be at an event. You and I go to a lot of personal development events. You could be at an event. You to speaking with somebody and they go, oh yeah, I'm part of this organization or that organization. Hey, could you get me introduced in? I just like to share this with you. Is there somebody you think might be interested in this message? That kind of thing. Now, are you going to keep these things longer than you keep the business cards that you got?
Yeah, definitely.
I have a box full of business cards. I have boxes. I'm a law enforcement officer. I've gone to trainings for years. I have boxes full of people's business cards that I absolutely will pick it up and go, Chris Burns, who is he? How do I know him? You know what I mean? Because the minute, the cool, clever thing, we put our pictures on it, right? But even if we put our picture on it, it's like, yeah, he looks familiar. What did we talk about? I'm saying, but you put this in somebody's hands. You put your book in somebody's hands, they're remembering you. They're going to remember you. So what I would really, so get your book, get this, put it down, write it down on your piece of paper, my book, write down my book, okay? And once you write down my book, I want you to write underneath it, my business. So my book, and then my business. Now, under my business, you and I are having a conversation, right? Yep. So you and I got Chris on here with me. So Chris and I, or you and I, the listener right now, are having a conversation. And I say to you, what is it that you do? right? Is that not the famous question we get, right? Everywhere we go, someone meets us, networking events, whatever, they want to know what it is that we do. You want to tell me that story here. Tell me that story here, okay? And when you tell me that story, tell me stories, right? Tell me testimonies. Tell me, how you got inspired to start your business. Tell me your goals with your business. Tell me what I encourage people to do when I take them through the coaching process for this. You want to write down. So now you guys have my book. You have my business, right? My book, my business, my target audience, right? My book, my business, my target audience. Why you want to write down your target audience? Because that's the person who you're talking to. Yep. Right? Because remember I said you and I are sitting down in this scenario, having this conversation. So you are talking to me, your target audience. So let's say your target audience is single women with children. You need to focus your book on them, not you. So when you tell your story, you need to tell your story in your book related that target person. Do you understand? So they know why they should do business with you, because you're speaking to them.
So
business owners, remember this, everybody. We as business owners.
Real quick, some people might say, "Oh, I did this, and this is what I've experienced," but without relating it back to and how this benefits you, and how you can implement this, and how you can here's some exercises that you can do to get through your own challenges, kind of thing. And that's what you're saying to focus on.
Exactly. Yeah. Think about the questions that people ask you when they come to you for your advice, for your coaching, for your business, whatever your business is. What are they asking you? And those questions that are asking you, I really want you to write that down. What do people come to me for? What are they asking me? So what do people come to me for? What are they asking me? And leave space, because you're going to answer, those differently. And the reason you want that is because that's what people need. That's the problem you need to solve. So your book needs to be speaking to that, right? So let's say, for example, if you are that mechanic, and the mechanic has somebody come to them, and the person comes to them because they need their car fixed. Something's wrong with their car, right? So you might want to write a book that says 10 ways to winterize your car, or 7 ways to keep your car in its best condition in the summer, or something to that effect, right? And you're going to put those tips inside the book. Now, previously, people were saying you want to offer this as a freebie or giveaway on your website or something like that, and they usually say do it in a paper form or a newsletter form or something like that. I'm saying step it up, all right? Step it up. Here's the thing. To do a book nowadays is not as difficult as you would think, not as difficult as it used to be, because there are things in place right now for us to be able to write a book, right? So being mindful of the time, I would like to run you through some of the previous ways that people used to publish books and why people sit and get stuck. I can't write this book. There's no way I can write a book, right? Yeah. It's already here, folks. It's already here, and most of you have already done it. You've already spoke it out. For example, right now, Chris and I could get off this video. Chris could get this video transposed or anything that he transcribed, anything that he spoke or said in coaching or whatever. And then make it into a book. You take it, you edit it, you make it. You've already created the intellectual property. All you need to do is go through and edit it now, right? And put it in the form of the needs of your target audience, right? Because make sure you focus on the target audience. So when I want to go back to my title. It says your book as your business. This is why business is in there, or business card, I'm sorry. I'm taking card off and going to business, right? Because people hear it as your business card and they think, well, that's a super expensive business card. Take the card off, your book as your business, right? Because that's what you're telling people about in your book is your business, who you are. So your book now becomes your business. It now becomes something you can refer somebody to read, so that you can get money that way. It also can get you speaking engagements, speak at different because you're an author, so people want you to come. You can put leadership tips in there. You can put inspirations. It's your book. You can put whatever you would like in there. Now, let me go back to what we were going to talk about. There's three considered types of ways. That was too many fingers. 3 ways that you can get yourself published, right? So you can go traditional. Traditional is, HarperCollins, Simon Schuster, those big people that give you the nice hardcover books, and you get the prestige of saying you were traditionally published. Yet now, if you're going to use your book as a business card, which is what my whole presentation is about, right, you're talking a year and a half to 3 years before that book, that hardcover HarperCollins book comes out. Wow. And guess what? You don't own the rights to your book once you've signed it off and given it to those traditional publishers, right? So that, I would say, for us entrepreneurs here, that I'm talking about using your book as a business card 1.5 years to 3 years from now, isn't quite what we're looking for, okay?
Right.
If that's something you want, then go for it. Yeah. And I'm saying that for us to be smart entrepreneurs, we might want to do one of these other. I see you want to say.
Yeah. So it was a little hard to hear you, but I think
you froze. You froze on me, Chris.
Yeah, I'm back. We're back. So what I was gonna say is, you can plan for that bigger book release later on, right? Later on with the big publisher, and be planting the seeds for that, and still maybe creating content or thinking about, hey, what do I want to talk about in that? And then in the meantime, you could probably work on something smaller, more condensed, more personal, more laser focused, targeting a smaller niche or whatever it might be. And that's, I think, where the beauty that we're talking about here, Tamia, comes in.
Exactly. Yeah. So am I flowing now? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Because you froze on me. Okay. All right. So yes. So that is the more traditional, more long term, something that you may want to look at. There's some other pitfalls to it, though. So when I do my longer course, I talk about that, but I don't have time to do that today. I'm just saying traditional is not what we as entrepreneurs wanting to get something out right now is looking at.
And if anybody out there has questions, be sure to message Tamia. She's on Facebook at Chaplain Dow, and I'm sure she'll be commenting and stuff, so you can message her as well.
Yes, excellent. Yeah. Perfect. Yes, if you do have questions, please, yeah. And also find me at coachtamia@gmail.com, coachtamia@gmail.com.
You got it.
And that's Tamia, Tamia@gmail.com. Okay, and I will answer your questions, because I do want to help you get your book out, get the book that's inside of you, okay? Yes. So the next one is called hybrid. And the hybrid is, you're paying money for the hybrid. They're going to help you maybe get your covers together, do some editing for you. You still have to write the content, although sometimes, and I kind of alluded to this before, they have something called a ghostwriter. So you can get you pay for a ghostwriter, and that person will kind of interview you, get to know you, and then they write your story for you. So if you feel like, oh, this is just something I could not do, but you can afford to pay a ghostwriter to do it for you, then you can do that also. So that was the thing I kind of hinted at before. So with the hybrid, that's going to cost you money. You're paying them to do things for you, right? And the next one is it yourself, okay? To do it yourself is self-publishing. Self-publishing, print on demand. Now, that is the way I did my most recent book. I'll tell you why I do things like this. Chris knows me pretty well. And the reason I do things like this is I want to be able to learn something. I will go to different seminars and trainings, learn something. And then once I learn something, I want to do it. I want to actually go out and do it, see how it works, see what works, what didn't, to offer advice to other people. And then when I do that, then I teach. So with books under my belt, I'm here teaching, okay? Yep. So self-publishing is one of the routes that I've gone. I've done hybrid and self-publishing. Traditional is down the line. So with the self-publishing, I actually like it. I like it because I have control. You have control. You can pretty much say what you want to. Now, here's what I encourage you with self-publishing, though, is back to my formula when I was telling you. When you write your book, you to invite people into your world, telling them about who you are and how you serve them. Because it's always about your audience. Whether you're speaking, whether you're writing a book that is a business card, it needs to be about the person whose hands the book is in. So with that, you can write your story. You're definitely going to need to get some editing. So this is something I would really encourage, because I've seen some pretty rubbish books. I've seen some books that just, you're like going, really?
You published this?
You're right. Yeah. Or when they say, somebody let you publish it? Well, that also is the downfall of self-publishing. There's really no oversight. You can pretty much publish, whatever you want to put on, and CreateSpace is what I use. So CreateSpace is a part of Amazon. So once you go to CreateSpace, there's a whole format. They walk you through. There's some tutorials to show you how to format your book, put it on there. Now, as you're looking at self-publishing, you're going to have to create your own like graphics for the front of your book. I mean, this is kind of a boring graphic, but I have a lot of books, but you've seen it. Okay, so you look at the front of somebody's book, and it might be drawn, it might be a photo, it might be all of that. When you go to the traditional, they do for you. You have no say over it, literally.
Wow.
So if they decide that they think that a big cup of whatever needs to be on the front of your book, and your vision was that you wanted to have people running or something like that, you have no say over it.
Wow.
They traditionally, that you signed everything over to them, they owned your book. So when you go down to the other end, and you have say in hybrid. So hybrid was the second level. You have a say in the book cover, but usually you end up going with what they say, because they'll tell you, you're doing years in this, right? Now with self-publishing, it's all you. It's all you, right? You may do, and I've seen this because I'm in a whole bunch of different masterminds and things such as that, where you post it and you ask for other people's opinion. And I would encourage you to do that. I would encourage you to do that with samples from your book, and I would encourage you to do that because you're also going to be looking for endorsements. You're going to be looking for endorsements and forwards and things to accompany your book, which I talk more about in my training, because there's a lot to this, right? I'm trying to make it as thorough as I can in our brief time. There's a lot to it. Yeah. You can be successful, okay? You can do this. I just want to show you can do this. There's help. There's help. There's steps. There's a process. And when you follow the process, it definitely works. So. Are there any questions coming in, Chris? Because I don't have a way of looking at the...
We had Marcia say she's excited and great to hear you. And we have people saying that they're looking forward to hearing about how to write the process of a book, but no questions yet.
Okay, so now how to write... So back to how to write the process of the book. So we started with talking about, my book, what my book is about, and then... How many of you, and I know you can't show me by show of hand, but how many of you who have businesses have written out a business plan? Raise your hand if you've written out a business plan. I'm looking like I can see you guys, but I can't. So, your business plan, and then the next one is how many of you have written a marketing plan for your business? Right? So, I asked you these two questions for a very specific reason, because I just said to you that your book is your business, right? So just because we've written a book, and I know some of you feel like I probably jumped over the process of writing the book to this business thing, we have to think with the end in mind, right? So this is your business right here, your book. And with that being the thought process, you don't start a business without a plan. You shouldn't. Right? You don't, and 80%, 80 to 90%, depending on who you talk to, of your business is marketing, right? Because how is somebody going to know who you are if you do not have a marketing and a thing in plan, right? Or a place in plan. So you write your book. Who's going to know your book exists? How are they going to know who you are? This is why marketing is something that needs to be done up front. You need to do your business plan. What is the goal of my business? Right? Who do I serve? Who's my target market? What is my mission? Right? What is the legacy I want to leave with this book? And I say legacy because when you're long gone, this book is still here. okay? Until like the earth burns up and then everything's gone. Who's going to see it, right? But pretty much generations from now, people will be able to look at your book. This is also why, as I take you through the writing process, which I do in my seminar, July 1st, I'm going to start an actual, it's called the Summer Writing Blitz. July 1st, Summer Writing Blitz. And in the Summer Writing Blitz, we're going to meet 10 minutes a day, and we're going to be writing. We're going to just write our book together, and I will take you through the steps of the process. So people asked that. They said, how do we do that? And it's a free process that I will take everybody through starting July 1st, 10 minutes to write the book. So this is why I'm jumping ahead to, once you write the book is not done. And this is where a lot of self-published authors fail. Because they write the book and they put it away.
Wow.
And they've written a book. Right? And every once in a while they say this somebody, oh yeah, I wrote a book. Didn't you know I wrote a book? How would they know? Because you didn't go through the business plan and the marketing plan process that I'm discussing with you now. So I would encourage you right now, write that down, business plan, marketing plan. When you write it down, Google how to write a business plan. Google how to write a marketing plan. The first thing you see, you start talking about how to write a marketing plan is, what are you marketing, right? You're marketing a book, right? You're marketing your as a business, okay? So when you're talking about marketing, so your book gets, there's some other steps I'm going to tell you about the book, so that's why I'm not taking you through the writing process, because I want to get to it. So now you have your book. You've created your book. You've got your marketing plan. You know what you want to do with your book. Here are some tips on things that you can do as an entrepreneur to get out there, the business owner, to get your book out there. For example, I know realtors who've done books. Like I personally have gotten one from a realtor. I know some money people who have created books. Then Courtney Smith has a book. Who have created books. So you can read through the books before you actually come to their seminars. And the thing is, in the back of the book, it tells you what? Come to my seminar, right? Come to my seminar that I do 3 times a year or whatever, that kind of thing. So this book is a marketing tool for you. Inside the book, you're going to talk about your back end, okay? So some people, their back end is their book. Like they'll say, okay, thank you, I spoke with you today, I really appreciate you, and I'll see you back at the table and you can buy my book, right? Well, inside the back of your book, everything should be in there. Anything that you have on your website that you've been encouraged to put on your website needs to be in the back of your book, right? Wow. So your bio, any webinars that you have or trainings that you conduct during the year, any coaching that you do and how they can coach with you, all of that information needs to be in the back of your book. And if you're a joint venture or affiliate with someone who also could serve the same target market as you can also put that information in the back of the book. You can put a sponsor's information in the back of the book. And sponsorship is a big thing with me. If you come to my Facebook page, I talk about Roberta Candelaria has a sponsorship boot camp going on right now. Sponsorship, I'm telling you guys, money is out there because the tradition of marketing, the old-fashioned way, is long gone. And so sponsors need to get their message in front of your target audience. So this is what you start working together. I love that joint venture. Chris and I have joint ventured before, So I love concept of joint venturing. It's why try to push the wheel by yourself? Get 4 or 5 other people and it's going to be floating, right? Yep. It's going to be rolling. So let's not try to reinvent the wheel. Let's work together because, as I said at the beginning, solopreneurship doesn't work. We need to be a team, right? So from your book, I'm keeping an eye on the time. So from your book, you can do speaking. You can turn your book into an audio book. Because how many of us, I know me, how many of us like to listen to our books on tape? I do. How many of us like to listen to our books while we're driving, while you're commuting somewhere? Okay, so turn it into an audio book, right? Turn it into a seminar teaching straight step-by-step from the chapters inside your book. You can do teleseminars. You can do webinars. You can do, there's countless speaking engagements, right? Training specific to what your book is about. And it really depends depends on what your book is about, what your business is about. You know, go to all local businesses. They have networking meetings and small chapter meetings, and they always need speakers. So think about sponsoring and speaking. You tell someone who's having their local network review, you say, oh, you know what? Hi, you know, I'm just a published author, and I'm really interested in sponsoring and speaking at your next event because I realize that there's many people who are part of my target audience, and I would love to share my message with them. Yeah. So I'd love to sponsor and speak, right? And sponsor might entail you paying for, you know, hors d'oeuvres or something, you know, and they'll say, our sponsor today is Chris Burns, you know, from Bernard Coaching. We're glad to have you here. And then they give you time. You get 5 to 10 minutes to stand up and talk about your mission, talk about your book, you know, talk about your services and how you can serve the audience. Just remember, if you take anything away from there, it's about those you're serving, right? How are you solving the problem for these people who are getting your book in your hand, okay? Now, for the other part of it, so you have two people who are consuming your book. You have the reader, and then you have someone who could book you, right? A booker, right? So this could be a corporate HR person, you know, it could be a training department, because pretty much corporations put money aside for training. Most of us don't think about that. People put money aside for training. So if you put a whole speaker packet around your book and send it in to a training, you know, to a trainer, a person who can book you, how more impressive are you than someone who sends in just a win sheet or a link and tells you, look me up, right? When this book is in somebody's hand, there's not too many people that toss a book away. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're going to see your packet that you sent them, send the additional packet, like the old physically send this and your papers in. You can send them a link to later, but put this in your hand because people will not throw this away. And once they start leafing through your book, even though they don't really read it, you're going to be top of their list to bring in to speak. So I've given you guys a lot of ideas on what you can do using your book as a business card. Any questions going on?
None yet, but I love it, and I'm curious, what has been the biggest challenge for you in writing your books and maximizing your use of books in your own marketing?
Actually, so I just went all out of the box marketing, okay? Yeah. So I have done book signings, which I love doing book signings. Book signings are one-on-one with people. The neat thing about my most recent book that I did, which was The Faith Is Inspiring Stories from Las Vegas Chaplains, is that I have multiple authors in there. And this is something I don't want you to shy away from. So people, I hope you hear this. If you have an opportunity to be a co-author in a book, take it. I am the co-author of 4 different books, and each one of those books has a different, or chapter that I put in there has a different theme that I can use with different training target audiences, right? So I have a book that talks about law enforcement that I can still use with law enforcement. I have a book that talks about my faith that I can specifically use if I'm doing speaking engagements at churches and things like that. I have a book that talks about personal development, and I'm a coach, right? So my personal development chapter that's called I Am As I Say I Am talks about the words that come out of your mouth that I can use to speak pretty much anywhere in personal development, right? So if you have a chance to just write one chapter, that could be my challenge to you. Write one chapter and contribute to someone's book. And I know you said Marcia said she was excited to be here. Marcia has a book coming out too. So, actually, she's putting together people, co-authors, to be in her book. So you might want to think about that. And then before the summer is over, for everybody who goes through the Summer Writing Blitz with me, July 1st through July 31st, we will be putting together a compilation also. So after you build up your confidence in those 30 days together, you'll have an opportunity to join me in putting together a book, and your book will be your business card. By the end of the summer, you will have a business card in hand. So
wow,
they're little the challenges. Yes, but book signs, I do book. I've had a chance to do commercials. I did commercials for the last book. You can book libraries to do presentation. I've done book readings. I had one of my local writers club invite me to do a book reading. And after I did the book reading, they asked me to do very similar to what I'm doing right now. They're like, can you come and coach us and tell us how to market our books and get stuff out here? So when I get the knowledge, like I said, that learn, do, teach concept, when I get the knowledge and I get to do it, I just want to share. I want to help as many people be successful, get their message out there. Because the other part of this book, your book here and writing it, is that people want to see what your heart is, right? When they are looking to make a decision between you and somebody else, let's say somebody from, I'm just going to throw out a tire shop. I don't know why I'm focusing on cars today, but so Ted Weems, somebody works at Ted Weems, and they write a book. They own the shop, so they write a book about how their passion is for sick children in Africa, right? And they tell you that this is their social conscious, issue that they support, right? And then you see Pet Boys, right? And I don't know Pet Boys. You might have a social conscious thing too. I'm just using examples here. So then you see Pet Boy, but you think, wait a minute, Ted Weems helps kids in Africa. I think I'll go to Ted Weems. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So once people get to know and you get your message out and what you support and they know your heart, then people will support you.
Beautiful, beautiful. So Tamia, let's begin wrapping it up. The last minute takeaways you want people to have, and then how people can stay connected with you and take the next step with you.
So, the day you breathe your last breath, you can no longer write that book. And there are people out there who need to hear your message. So I say to you, let's get writing. Get a hold of me, Coach Tamia at gmail.com, Coach Tamia at gmail.com, or look for me at www.tamiadow, TAMIADOW.com, right? And if you get this, looking forward to chatting with anybody who reaches out to me. I will take some time with you. I will send you a series of questions I'll need you to answer and work through so we can all get on the same sheet of music. And if you don't reach out to me now, make sure you get a hold of me before July 1st so we can all go on the Summer Writing Blitz together.
Summer Writing Blitz. You all heard it. Wow. Tamia, thank you so much for coming on today. You are a wealth of knowledge about not only books, but so many different topics, personal development, about spirituality. This is incredible. Thank you for being on and taking time out of your busy schedule, writing more books, empowering people. I love it. And thank you for everything you're doing for the world.
Thank you, Chris. Love you.
Love you too. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Yes, bye.
Awesome! Woohoo! Epic, epic, epic. Tamia just rocked the house. So make sure you follow her, Coach Tamia Dow, or Coach Tamia at Coach Tamia at gmail.com. And if you're just tuning in, thank you for tuning in. And we will be right back because Facebook only allows us to do 4 hours of recording at a time. We'll be right back, do the regular